there are different types of pollutions on this planet, be it air pollution, water pollution, marine pollution, but a type of pollution which has created havoc in the last decade, and that is the plastic pollution, and that is what we will be discussing today. Hello and welcome to the in-depth series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha Singh, and in today's video we will be discussing about United Nations Treaty to End Plastic Pollution, a type of pollution which is increasing with each passing year. So this we will be talking about, and we are meeting after a lot of time. So I hope all of you are doing well. So these are the points of discussion. First we'll be looking at the news, then the zero draft of INC 3, what are the key statistics about it, then the Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee, what is it and why is it so important, initiatives to tackle plastic pollution that has been taken by the government till now, and in the end a prelims MCQ. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 3, that is environment and ecology, and especially from the pollution perspective. So let's begin. The news talks about what's the status of the United Nations Treaty to End Plastic Pollution. So a treaty is being talked about to discuss the plastic pollution, to discuss the problems related to plastic pollutions, and to discuss and to find out a way that how the problem of plastic pollution can be dealt with. So first of all, what is happening is that the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, that is INC, under the UNEP, that is the United Nations Environment Program. So the INC, Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, they met in Nairobi. Nairobi is the capital of which country? It is the capital of Kenya, and the date was November 13 to November 19. And this was the third round of negotiation. Third round of negotiation means that the first and the second round of negotiations has already taken place. So this was the third round of negotiations of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee. They met in Nairobi, and INC is under the UNEP. So, and what did they talk about? What was the motto? So the motto was to develop an international legally binding instrument to end plastic pollution worldwide. To end plastic pollution worldwide, they were looking for a legally binding instrument. Legally binding instrument means that if the consensus reaches to a certain point, then that certain point becomes applicable, and that guidelines become applicable to every single participant of that meeting. That is what is the meaning of legally binding, that all the participants then have to follow it, and all the participants have to follow the guidelines also. And this is under the UNEA Resolution 5/14. So this is a United Nations resolution, and the name of the resolution is 5/14. And the INC, which is the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, it is responsible for delivering a global plastics treaty by 2025. Global plastics treaty. Now this can be an important point, and this from here the question can be asked in the prelims exam, that INC is responsible for delivering which treaty? First of all, target year, that is 2025. So you need to remember that the Global Plastics Treaty, the target year is 2025, and INC, that is the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, is responsible for delivering it. It means it is overall responsible for it. Then the zero draft at INC 3. So INC 1, INC 2 and INC 3 has taken place, and INC 3 has taken place recently, that is in the starting months of this year. So a zero draft was prepared at INC 3. So what was this zero draft? So the zero draft also talked about and also had options for an international legally binding treaty to end plastic pollution. So to find a legally binding treaty on the plastic pollution and how the plastic pollution can be brought to an end is what has been the motto of the INC meetings till now. So even INC 3 meeting, at the zero draft which was prepared at INC 3 meeting, also talked about finding a legally binding treaty which talked about the end of the plastic pollution. And what were the key areas that it focused on was primary polymer production, chemicals of concern, problematic and short-lived plastics, trade, financial mechanism, and among others. So when we talk about plastic pollution, now plastic pollution is a pollution type of pollution which happens from plastics. And now what is the problem is that the plastics is made up of synthetic or semi-synthetic fibers, and especially the main ingredients can be a polymer. Now what becomes a problem is that how to get rid of plastics, because plastics is something which is non-biodegradable. It takes a lot of time, and the recycle and reuse of plastics is not very apt also in nowadays. So that is the reason that the use of plastics is increasing, but to find out that how to get rid of the plastic waste is becoming difficult. And especially in our country, the topic of single-used plastic is also one of the major topics that is ever going in the country, and how to get rid of the single-use plastics is also one of the topics which is ever going in the country, because people are so used to the single-use plastics that they buy bottles. Drinking bottles are there, then wherever we go for shopping in our daily life, we tend to get those plastic bags in which we carry the stuff. So the use of the single-use plastics is so integrated in our life that we are not able to get rid of the plastics. So primary polymer production, the polymer production is also a topic and a key area in this. And the chemicals of concern, that what are the chemicals that are used in the production of plastics. If those chemicals are harmful for the humans, and if those chemicals are harmful for other people, then how to lessen the use of those chemicals. Then some states also disagreed on the objective and scope under UNEA Resolution 5/14. So there are some states which do not agree with the Resolution 5/14 that talked about the end of plastic pollution, and how the countries which were in favor of the Resolution 5/14, so the countries which were not in favor and the countries which were in favor, and especially if we talk about the like-minded countries, the developing countries, and the countries which are developed, or you can say that the island countries, they need support from the developed countries, while the developed countries are the countries which are in favor of the Resolution 5/14, because they have those financial capability and the financial capacity and the financial backing that they can work towards freeing plastic pollution and to end plastic pollution. But what about countries who are least developed? What about countries whose GDP is not very high? While what about those nations which are island nation? They do not have the backing, financial backing, they do not have the population, they do not have the demographic dividend to support themselves. So there were some states which were not in favor, while there were some states which were in favor. So this was about the zero draft at INC 3, but the main idea was to talk about how to end plastic pollution. Now let's talk about few of the stats about plastic pollution. So in the year 2022, it was about 21 million metric tons of plastics leaked into the environment globally. So 21 million metric tons. It leaked into the environment globally. Now you can imagine that how much pollution it is causing, because what become a major concern for us and for the whole globe is how to get rid of this plastic. What can be done with this plastic? So we need to find a diverse and an alternative route also, that the use of used plastics can be increased. And if we talk about the present scenario, the plastic usage would increase, which will result in a 50% rise in microplastics leakage by the year 2040. And the macroplastic leakage will also cause a problem, because it is very, very, very small in size. This might also cause respiratory problems for people, and also for people who are also suffering from asthma or major health issues. So plastics generate a variety of life cycle impacts, and this contribute around 3.8% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. So total global greenhouse gas emissions around 3.8%. Now, Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee. Now, what is INC? So, this is an aspect from which the questions can be asked, as we have seen over the years that UPSC tends to pick topics which are important, and the bodies also, they have asked so many questions. So, this is our international body and one of the highest decision making body with respect to the environment topics. So, the INC was established in 2022 at the 5th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly, which is UNEA 5.2. So, it was established in the year 2022. So, you can say that it was established recently by UNEA, an international legally binding instrument on plastic pollution, including in the marine environment. So this is an important point that you need to remember, that it is legally binding instrument. Whatever they say needs to be followed. The guidelines that they give needs to be followed by the other participants. And it also includes marine environment. Then what was the need for forming the INC? So that is that the rapidly increasing level of plastic pollution. So seeing the need of looking into the aspect of stopping the use and the stopping the ever increasing plastic pollution, there was a need felt that a creation of a new body needs to be there, which specifically looks into the aspect of plastic pollution and how to end plastic pollution. So the INC was formed, which represent a serious global environmental issue that negatively impacts the environmental, social, economic and health dimensions of sustainable development. Because if we talk about plastic pollution, then plastic is not an aspect which is related to only one aspect. It impacts diversely. If we talk environment, it causes a lot of harm to the environment. Then social, economic and health dimensions. So there are many major diverse nature in which the plastic pollution is harming the environment, and it is also a stoppage for the sustainable development. Now, the initiatives which has been taken by the government to tackle plastic pollution, we can say that from the national perspective, there are few of the initiatives that has been taken are Plastic Waste Management Rules 2022. So this was an amendment which was done. Then extended producer responsibility, the person or the company or the factory which is producing the pollution or the plastic pollution is also responsible for looking after it. Then the national dashboard on elimination of single use plastic and plastic waste management. How to eliminate the single use plastic, this is one of the major aspect and the major topic which goes on in our country. Then India Plastics Pact, that how the plastic can be reused or recycled. Then the project REPLAN, and REPLAN stands for reducing plastic in nature. How the use of plastic can be reduced in nature. So these are few of the initiatives, and this is one of the most important aspect that you need to write while you are doing your answer writing practice, because what has been done by the government, you need to know that. And you need to write also, because this increases credibility in your answer, and the marks also gets enhanced. Next, in the end, a prelims MCQ, and people need to tell me the answer in the comment section. This is a PYQ of the year 2019, and the question talks about why is there a great concern about the microbeads that are released into environment. So it is related to microbeads. There are 4 options to it. First, they are considered harmful to marine ecosystems. Second, they are considered to cause skin cancer in children. Third, they are small enough to be absorbed by crop plants in irrigated fields. And fourth, they are often found to be used as food adulterants. So you need to tell me the answer in the comment section. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading and keep writing.